So, hey everyone, my name is Will Case, and I'm the product manager for Headlamp. And today I want to talk to you about something that we all know, and that's Kubernetes. We know how powerful it is, how useful it is, but it's not always user-friendly, right? Especially for newcomers or teams that are managing multiple clusters. Kubernetes in the past has shown tremendous growth in the last 10 years, but to really be successful in the next 10 years, Kubernetes must get easier. So, we can all in this room think about like our first 3 weeks or first 2 months in Kubernetes, and we really ran the gauntlet. And looking back at it, we have sort of that knowledge, but for new users, it's even more complex now. And that's where Headlamp comes in. So it's a tool really designed to make Kubernetes more accessible, more visual, and more inclusive. And again, in the spirit of honesty, it wasn't built with really a user experience in mind, right? So for new users, it can be a maze of YAML, CLI commands, and scattered tools. And even experienced users can often struggle with context switching and inconsistent interfaces. And while the CNCF ecosystem has grown beautifully, we have over 200 projects now, in a way that's also overwhelming for new users. It's a lot to manage, often own UIs and own CLIs. And in a way, onboarding to Kubernetes can feel almost traumatic, right? But as they say, the first step to healing is acceptance, and maybe the second step is Headlamp, right? So the complexity is real, and as a solution architect before my role as product manager, I worked with over 500 DevOps engineers, software engineers, platform engineers, and I know firsthand how much of a toll it can take, especially those who are coming from really point zero, not knowing what containers are, and then moving towards getting onboarded to Kubernetes and maybe a managed Kubernetes instance. And going on to some of the challenges of UX fragmentation. So for context switching, right? Jumping between tools, this kind of kills productivity, right? It's inconsistent, and every tool has its own interface and its own quirks, and ultimately its own learning curve. And then you put that on top of Kubernetes, and in a way, we're adding even more complexity. So it can become even more time-consuming and not exactly welcoming to new users. And fundamentally, we keep going back to new users here because they often struggle the most. And so next, here we have Headlamp, right? So what's the alternative? So we can meet Headlamp. It's a graduated open source Kubernetes UI. We're a part of the SIG UI since April at KubeCon EU in London. And it's designed to really be simple, powerful, and extensible. And whether you're managing a single cluster or many, Headlamp gives you a clean interface that works across environments. So whether you're on as more organizations now are adopting a multi-cloud strategy, you have that single context that's really going to help your teams on-ramp and accelerate. So what we're doing here, the essence of what we're doing, is really we're empowering individuals and organizations to achieve more by making Kubernetes easier and more accessible. So we can think of Headlamp as a simplified starting point for Kubernetes, one that helps users get oriented quickly, and then build on all the amazing work in the community, and even some of the work that we've seen here throughout the day. And this is an overview of Headlamp. So in action, we have our cluster overview, and this is our command center, right? It gives you real-time snapshots of your cluster health, your workloads, nodes, namespaces, and more. We even have our advanced search feature in beta. So it's not just a dashboard. You can even drill further down into your resources. So whether that's deployments, logs, you can edit YAML directly from the UI. So there's no need to jump between kubectl, dashboards, or even text editors. And it's all integrated and it's fast. And it's really about reducing friction and making Kubernetes more approachable, right? And we're available across Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. We even have a version that runs in a browser. And here we see the application map. So this is just one of Headlamp's most visually intuitive features. And it shows how your services and your workloads are connected, right? For whether you're a developer or an operator. And this can really be a game changer for those teams because you can quickly spot your bottlenecks, your misconfigurations, or any missing dependencies that you might have, right? And it's especially helpful if you're, let's say, in a microservice based environment where understanding some of those service relationships is crucial. And of course, it's interactive, so you can click on any component and drill down further into it. And then at its core, Headlamp is built to be extensible, right? So its plugin system, it's going to allow you to add new functionality or tailor the UI to your specific needs. So for example, you can build a plugin that integrates with your CI/CD pipeline, or one that surfaces some of your custom metrics from Prometheus. And we've been seeing teams even build GitOps workflows, right? And it's built with React and Material UI. So if your team is already working in these frameworks, these technologies, you'll feel right at home there. And then we also have AI integration. And these are one of the things that the team is really most excited about, bringing that layer of the MCP so you can really bring your own LLM. So imagine having an AI assistant that's right in your Kubernetes UI, and it's context aware of everything that's going on. So you can troubleshoot issues, you can generate YAML, and you can explain what resources do. And it's still in progress, so we're expecting to have a beta out in the coming months. But some of our prototypes have even, they can even suggest things like fixes for failed pods, summarize logs, or even guide new users through tasks, right? And that's really important because our mission there is to ultimately lower the barrier of entry into Kubernetes, right? And then Headlamp is really more than just a UI. It's ultimately a platform for innovation, right? And with its plugin architecture, you can extend it to fit your needs. So we see this in the case of projects like Flux, where essentially we've extended that functionality, and then they can have a UI, their own UI, right? And we see this with observability with Prometheus and even complex AI developments, right? And with tools like VS Code extensions and Artifact Hub support, it's really never been easier to really get started. And of course, we're, again, community driven, open source, and we're built to grow with you. And then finally, so we've all really been there, right? We're staring at our kubectl logs, and we're feeling like we're trying to reveal like maybe the meaning of life, and it really doesn't, but sometimes we need more than just those raw logs, and we need insight, we need clarity, and maybe a little, from time to time, a little emotional support with the trauma of really onboarding to Kubernetes. And that's where Headlamp comes in. You can think of it like a therapy of sorts, and for your cluster, but with fewer copays and a lot more YAML. So Kubernetes is here to stay, but that does not mean that it has to be hard. Headlamp brings that simplicity. So really check us out on headlamp.dev, our GitHub, and even our Slack channel, and join the community. So, and our hope here is for us to really make the next 10 years of Kubernetes growth more impressive than the last 10 years. And we want to make Kubernetes simpler and more accessible for everyone together. Thank you.